Incentives are everything. So the incentives you give is what you get. If you want a gang of pigeons and squirrels around you, just start leaving bread and nuts on the ground at Central Park, and you'll quickly notice that you're being loved by all the birds and the squirrels in Central Park. But if you don't leave bread and nuts on the ground, those animals will never come around you. And I'm saying that to be crass because incentives are everything. If you are the person when it's someone's birthday or someone graduated or it's a quinceañera or whatever the fuck is going on in your family or with your friends, if you become the guy who gives the biggest gift or you give the most money, that now becomes part of your ego. And what happens is when the next party comes around, people realize, oh, this guy loves the idea of being the big money giver, the big gift giver. And now you've associated yourself to this action. So this incentive that you've given other people is coming back around with way more momentum every time it comes back around. And I love that you brought that up, Rich. That's where the resentment comes from, because you're like, yo, why does everybody keep coming to me asking me for money? Well, if you go back in the time machine, it's probably because you have developed this pride about giving the most money. Now, your incentives are drawing back on you. If you don't like bird shit on the floor or squirrels surrounding you, then stop giving these rewards for something that you don't want. And I know we haven't gotten to actionable advice yet, but I do believe that we as young men, well, I'm not a young man anymore, but when we were young men, we wound up suffering in the world that we live in because of a lot of the actions that we took prior. And we don't know how to disconnect them. And I think that's where this becomes a dark hole, Rich, where you can't get out of it because now you've wrapped your identity and you've become a part of this hell that you live in, this curse of being a people pleaser.
Yeah, just to play devil's advocate, and this might throw a curveball in the conversation, but I feel like sometimes as a young man, you feel like you're only loved in the condition that you provide something, right? So that people pleasing comes from a place of, like you said earlier, seeking validation, but most importantly, seeking love from the ones that are closest to you. And that's sort of a distinction that you need to be able to mentally separate, where you shouldn't, first of all, if you feel this way, you shouldn't, right? Because no man should feel that they are loved under the condition that they provide something, whether that be...
Damn, conditional love. Wow. Yeah. Please finish the thought. I want to stay on that subject. Love based on a condition. Friends based on a condition. Co-workers, boss given promotion or given extra things based on a condition. A lot of these things are conditional. That's a great observation.
Yeah, and I think part of the people pleasing, if we're dissecting the issue that this young man may have, is that you feel that you are only loved, cared for, liked under the condition that you provide something of value in exchange. And that could be money, that could be your time, that could be being the designated driver, that could be a lot of different things. So, there's a lot about a young man's psyche where they're dissecting life, relationships, interactions, family dynamics, and they have to unpack all of these things and figure out, damn, what about these relationships is serving me? What isn't serving me? What is genuine? What isn't genuine? Where am I being taken advantage of? Am I giving too much money to the family, every Christmas? Like, these are all things as a young man that you have to analyze for yourself and for your own benefit.
Rich, just kind of scrubbing through Reddit, looking for different perspectives so we don't get caught in our old man, beating up on these young guys who have these life issues. I found a line that I really loved and I wanted to discuss it with you. It was, if you don't pick your life, life will rent you out to everyone else. So if you don't pick the things that are a priority to you and what you're willing to draw a boundary around, you just wind up donating your life out to other people so they can get what they need in their life. And I love that because it doesn't have that stink of like victim or anger. It's just a simple math problem, honestly. It's really a math on your time and energy.
I like that. And what that reminds me of is that I think everyone subconsciously has this meter of receiving. We all want to get things from situations, circumstances, or people. So if you're naturally a giver and all you do is give, and you give free and you give happily, I guarantee you people will take and people will receive, right? Because you as a giver make everything easy, right? So And I don't think that's by malice. I just think that people enjoy comfort. They enjoy things that are easy. So if you are my friend and part of the friendship dynamic that we have is that every time something in my house breaks, you are the first person that I call because you're very handy with things around the house, then and you don't charge me for it, then I'm always going to call you. Right. And there's no malice behind that. That's just like, bro, you make my life easy. You don't charge me. You come over, you fix the issue. And that is our dynamic as a friendship.
Rich, I'm going to give our younger viewers a very simple analogy. And I just thought of it. It's a little crass, but follow me. Let's say you are a young single man in your late teenage years or your early 20s, and you don't have a consistent girlfriend, but you have a few girls that are friends that occasionally you hook up with. Chances are the reason why you're not committed to this girl is because she's not completely at the standard that you want for a full long-term relationship. But let's say this girl's hypothetically a strong 6. She's not a 10, she's not a knockout, but you do hang out with her occasionally. The only reason why you hang out with this girl after 1 a.m. most of the time is because she's willing to give you something with no real friction, no real pushback, no real hesitation. You don't got to take her out for dinner. You don't got to spend too much money. She comes to your house. She finds her own parking. She don't even wait for you to go get her downstairs. She finds her way up to your apartment. The convenience of having a person like that in your life allows the relationship with that person to go on as long as possible. That is no different than what Rich said, but in a more, crass kind of way. You'll keep taking from that person as long as they keep giving to you without zero pushback. But the minute, this is where the rub comes, Rich. This is where the curse of being a people pleaser comes in 8K clarity. You know where I'm going with this. When she has the conversation with you at 3 a.m., after you done blown her back out for the second time, she tells you, hey, where is this going? I want this to be a real relationship. I've been telling my friends about you. At that point, she just told you no. She just drew a boundary. And you're about to find out the true nature of your relationship with that person because, young man listening to this, what are you going to say?
That's not the right time. I mean, I'm changing careers. I might move. I don't want to be settled down.
but what are we really saying here, Rich? I just took what you said and gave it a different angle to make it more relatable. What the person, if you say, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you anymore. And if that person gets upset, or if that person pushes back violently, or if that person shames you, then you know the nature of the relationship. It was only one-sided. I think sometimes when you push back and you draw boundaries, Rich, you're just finding out the clarity of your relationship. And I had to give the other example because I think it allows people to see it from a different perspective. Because is that woman a bad person for drawing a boundary?
No, in that moment, she's choosing herself. And there's more to the relationship that she was probably seeking that she wasn't getting. So she's trying to establish a boundary and trying to identify, like, where is this relationship going? And listen, we've all been guilty of this. We want all the perks of a relationship, but we don't want the relationship label.
Yes.
I've been guilty of this myself many times.
But it takes two willing participants. And that's the point we're trying to make about being a people pleaser. It's a curse and a burden to be a people pleaser because you are giving to give, and that's fine. People that give to give is fine. But when you're giving to get back, now you're in a fucked up situation because now you want validation.